So I have a ton of stuff to do today in the workshop, and I don't feel like editing video. So I'm doing a quick live stream just to give a workshop update and kind of practice doing live streams a little bit. I haven't done a lot of them before in the past. Apologies ahead of time if I stumble over my words or start and stop. It's just how I speak, unfortunately. So let's get going. This is our workshop, and this is our new X-Tool metal fab system. So some of the X-Tool representatives, Monim and Alex, came by yesterday and spent a few hours with me to train up on how to use this system. And we did some test cuts. And we cut this out really quick. This took probably about 8 seconds to cut out. This is 1 millimeter inch thick stainless steel. So I was blown away about how clean the cut was and how fast this worked. I really appreciate Monim and Alex showing me how to set all this up. We have a couple really cool creative projects that we're going to do with this. I need to find a better spot for it, which I'll talk about in a minute. But this is all of the stuff that goes along with it. There's a compressor for blowing air when you're doing cuts. There is the laser machine itself, which is a 1200 watt laser. This will feed the laser through the gun using a fiber optic cable, and then you mount the gun inside of this CNC tool, basically, and you can set this up to then cut out any shapes you want. So this whole machine is amazing, and I'm really happy to have it. Again, we have some really cool projects that we're working on this with, and later. But this whole machine we need to find space for, so we're going to put it over here where our Thunder laser is. So, and in order to do that, we need to put the Thunder laser underneath our Avid CNC. So the problem with that, and we could kind of do it right now if we had about 2 more inches of room. The CNC machine is maxed out on its leveling casters, and we can't fit it underneath without it hitting these crossbars. So we are working on a solution for that and trying to figure out how to jack this up by 3 more inches. We're 3D printing some new risers to do that. And yes, 3D printing won't be strong enough to support the CNC machine long-term. So we created these channels that we can put high-grade plywood, Baltic birch plywood, in these channels to take on a lot of the weight, and then some holes that we're going to add epoxy into. So we're working on that right now. We're printing up 6 of these, putting these together, and then I'm going to use a car jack to jack up our entire CNC machine once we get those new stands in place. And then I got to pull all this stuff out. And then once that's done, the Thunder laser can scoot underneath there. We'll save a lot of space. The metal fab system can go where the Thunder laser is right now. And we also recently cut out this rubber mat to just protect the top of the Thunder laser. It's been working out really well, and to keep it from getting all dusty when we're not using it. This is our Avid CNC. We have been cutting out our 3D printer stands on this Avid CNC, and we just cut out and assembled this H2D printer stand, which is a proof of concept for our new design, which I'll talk about in a minute. And this is the shelf that's going to go in the bottom on these runners. And we're pretty excited about it because it's completely parametric. So, which means that if you don't have an H2D, if you have an X1 Carbon or P1S or a different brand of printer, you can plug in the values into Fusion of the size of your printer, and this whole stand will update. So if you're making one yourself and you want it to fit your printer, it'll do that. And I'll show that to you in a minute once we get done showing the rest of the workshop. So we do have a giant mess going on our workbench that we need to get cleaned up this week. And this is left over from assembling the X-Tool metal fab system. This is our Rockler dust collection system. This whole hose spool reel connects on these tracks, and it goes over to our dust extractor and our dust separator. And we even have some 3D printed parts to get the hoses all aligned and set up correctly. And this is all movable. So you can take this reel and scoot it over all the way. And I'll back up here in a minute. And it will go over your workbench or anywhere in the workshop, like if I needed to get over my wife's car. But it works really, really well for sanding. So we've been hooking this up to our palm sanders when we're sanding stuff coming off the CNC machine, and it's been fantastic. The extra long hose does reduce the air suction by a small amount, but we really haven't noticed that much. It's been working out very well. The only real problem is that we need to figure out right now is reaching up and rewinding the reel at the top. It's kind of a pain, so we're going to cut out a gear to replace the handle with, and then have a chain coming down to where you can grab a hold of the chain and then rewind the hose reel up and down that way, which that'll be coming soon, but that's not super high priority. We're trying to get our stands done soon so we can post the plans and people can get some use out of those. Let's talk about our French cleat wall. We put this up a while back. There's our dog, Daisy. Daisy, hi. We put these up a while back and they've been working out really well, all of these French cleats. But we put this up before we designed our French cleat wall panels. So these panels are all cut out of a 1/2 inch piece of plywood, and they're all cut on the CNC machine. So there's no assembly. You don't have to glue and screw all of the cleats onto the board. It comes out of one single piece, which is great if you are trying to save time and labor, and you also want accuracy. So the CNC machine is super, super accurate. And so these come out almost perfect. They require a little bit of sanding before we paint them, but you can cut them out at any size. So here is a 48 by 48 wall panel that we just put up on this wall, and we're going to replace this entire wall with these panels. We've already started doing this wall with our French cleat wall panels, and that's been working out really well. And then we also did this wall over here, and we're inching our way over to this main wall, just because we got to rip off the cleats and sand things down a little bit and get those squared away. So one cool thing about these wall panels is that they are super strong. You can see how they're supporting our compressor up here. And we just added more cleats and more surface area that can fit onto the wall panels. So they become very, very secure, and they can hold incredibly heavy things. Now, I wouldn't try to cantilever these things because obviously eventually you'll pull them right off and break them. But for heavy stuff, they work well. And for our tool system that we designed, they work really well too. So speaking of our tool system, we are in the process of updating it to support all major tool brands. And we found this really cool filament from this company called AdNorth in Sweden. They have matched all major tool brands. So you can match, or they have filament for DeWalt, for Milwaukee, for Festool, for Ryobi, and then obviously for Makita as well. And I think they also have, I said Festool already. They have a couple other brands too that we don't have power tools for, but they send us the filament. So we'll be printing up those pretty soon, and then just making them available for folks. So let's, I forgot to mention, a toilet company reached out to us. Casa Diva reached out and said, hey, do you want to do a creative project using our toilet? And we do. So we did. So they sent us this really amazing sci-fi toilet. It's got a bidet feature. It's got a heated seat, all these different things that you can do with the toilet. And then we have a creative project that's going to go along with it. And we haven't unboxed it yet, but we're in the process of kicking off that project, which is going to be fun. Let's go inside real quick and we'll show you our very small printer farm. So the stand that we just showed outside is going to fit the H2D right here. We might actually build 2 of those H2D stands and stack 2 H2Ds on top of each other. But we're still, finalizing the plans and building those out and testing them. We want to test them as much as possible so that when we do release the plans, that they work really well for people, that there's not a lot of bugs that we get back or issues. Because if somebody goes onto their CNC machine or something like that and cuts these out and they don't work well, then we've just wasted a ton of material. This is our old stand design, and it's worked out really well. It inspired us to make the new stand design. The new stand design will be even better, but this is where it started from. And It's got, you know, switches for power. All of the shells pull out. So if you wanted to pull out the printer and take a look at the back, if you needed to look at that. But the new stand will have a poop chute. It'll have a poop drawer. Even more storage for different types of things. And then there'll be a customized pull-out shelf for the AMS. If you have multiple AMSs, you can just create as many of those shelves as you need for all the different AMS that you need it for. And then over here is our gamer desk. We're also working on making these plans available and maybe even manufacturing these desks. It's pretty messy right now because I've been working a lot. And you can see our plans that I'm currently updating for the desk, for the printer stand designs. Now, one thing that's really cool about this design and cool about Fusion in general are the parameters that you can set up. So here are all the parameters for all of the parts of this printer stand. And they're all connected, and some of them even have some very light scripting in them. So let's say you have a different brand of printer and it's a different size than the ones that Bamboo Lab sells. Well, you can just bring up this file, go into the parameters and say, hey, my printer is 20 inches wide by 15 inches tall by 80 inches long. And the entire stand will update to what those dimensions are. So it'll work well for you, you know, no matter what type of printer that you have. And you'll be able to set this up and generate the plans that you need for your printer, which is really cool. It's been a giant pain in the ass, like setting all this up and making sure it works correctly, but hopefully it'll add a lot of value to people who want to use this stand. And another thing that we're doing for the stands is setting up tool paths and layouts for you already. So here's an example of some of the shelf parts that have all been laid out, and they all have tool paths for cutting them out. And what we're doing in this file is we're setting them all up, and it's not done yet, so some of these areas are blank. But if you have a CNC machine that's 48 by 48, or one that's 5 by 6, I'm sorry, 4 by 5, 5 by 5, or 4 by 8, which are standard sizes of sheet goods that you can buy, all of that will be set up for you. So all the parts will be laid out, all the tool paths will be ready to go, and you can just jump in here and double check to make sure that they're good to go, and then jump on your CNC machine and print these off or cut these out. And for people who don't have a CNC machine, we're going to design paper plans for all of this too. So if you want to create one using your table saw or your router or whatever that you have at your house, you can get the paper plans for the Bamboo Lab H2D or the X1 Carbon, and then the paper plans will be a good source of all the measurements and where to cut from, and everything will work out really well for you. So whether you have a CNC machine or you just have a really good table saw and other tools, hopefully the plans will work great for you. I forgot to mention too, this is all modular. So you don't have to put the storage area on the bottom. You can stack it on top. You can put the AMS on the bottom. You can put 4 AMSs on top. Whatever configuration that you would want for this particular stand, you can set that up for yourself. And I think that's about it for this live stream. I hope you all got something out of it. Again, I'm not used to doing live streams. I usually do recorded videos and then post them just because I stutter a lot and things like that. But if you all had any questions, or if you, let me turn the camera around. If you have any questions about any of these projects or you want to see some more of them, please check out our videos on YouTube. We've posted a ton of different videos about all of this stuff. And if you have any feedback, let us know. If you have any good ideas about how you want to change the stands or update the stands, we'd love to get that feedback now versus later, just so we can make sure the stands fit everybody's needs. So cool. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you joining the live stream, and we'll talk to you soon. If I can figure out how to stop this crazy thing.